who are the godfathers of AI? Who are the scientists that really were driving the AI revolution in the last decade? So in this episode, we're going to look at three of them. There's many more, but we have 5 minutes, so we're going to focus on the superstars. So Michelle, do you want to give us a little bit more context about these people?
Yes, exactly. So the Godfathers of AI, it's a fairly recent token of a name. So it was based on 2018, the Turing Award, which, as some of you may know, it's based on a very historical and very legendary man in artificial intelligence and computer science. So it's basically the Nobel Prize of computing. And in 2018, it was given to three researchers, basically laid the foundation for the current boom in artificial intelligence. So they are dubbed the Godfathers of AI. They were recognized with 1 million annual prize for developing the subfield of deep learning. So the techniques that they've developed in the 1990s and the 2000s enabled a lot of breakthroughs in computer vision and speech recognition. And basically, it's their work that underpins the current proliferation of AI technologies, from self-driving cars to automated medical diagnosis. These three men are the godfathers of AI.
Okay, let's start with the first one in no particular order because they're all equally important. So the first one is Yann LeCun. He's a French computer scientist. He's very well known for his early work on optical character recognition. And he's currently working in Meta. He's a vice president and chief AI scientist of the old Facebook. He's also a professor in NYU, New York University. I think he's teaching AI or deep learning. I had the pleasure to meet him when I was working in Xerox in France in a number of different occasions. He's a brilliant guy, and he's also French, so he has this very French personality with all the pros and cons. I think the pros are outweighing the cons. But anyway, the second important person is Geoffrey Hinton, and this guy is a Canadian-born cognitive psychologist that turned into computer science pretty early in his career. And he was the guy that in 2012, I think, in an obscure conference called the European Conference of Computer Vision, unveiled the first prototype, the first experiments that were involving deep learning and images. And in that occasion, essentially, the world got to know the power of deep learning. And I was there. It was incredible. Everyone was having the same reaction. All the jaws were dropping. It was incredible, an incredible event in the history of machine learning and also in computer vision. These guys really changed the field. Being there was not only a privilege, but also, a moment that I will never forget for the rest of my life and career. But there is a third one, right, Michelle? And this guy is called Joshua Binjo. And all these guys, they were colleagues. They were part of the same community, the same line of thought. So can you tell us a little bit more about Joshua Binjo?
Yes, so Joshua Binjo, as you guys can probably guess, they all met in Canada. So he's actually a Canadian computer scientist, and he's most noted for his work in artificial neural networks and, of course, deep learning. He was also born in France to a Jewish family, and then he immigrated from Morocco, and then eventually to Canada, where they all met. So he did his bachelor's in electrical engineering, and then he went on to do a master's in computer science, and eventually his PhD there as well at McGill University. So it's one of the best universities in Canada. And then he also co-founded Element AI. So it's a Montreal-based artificial intelligence incubator. So they turned AI research into real-world business applications. But eventually the incubator failed, but the thought was really nice.
Interesting. And I'm pretty sure that, these guys are already in the textbooks when it comes to AI and the history of software. But I strongly encourage our audience to dig a little bit deeper. There's a ton of interesting articles about these guys. I remember one about Geoffrey Hinton on I think Wired a couple of years ago, where they were explaining they were sharing a little bit more details on how he sold his company to Google, and when he was negotiating with a number of different big tech corporates that were, trying to acquire all their technology and also know-how. So check it out. I think we might be able also to put the link in the description below. So thank you very much, Michelle. And we'll see all our audience to the next episode.